I'll give you a heads up just a moment or two before I do, and
Okay, that's perfect.
we'll go from there.
Sounds good. Brian, thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Catch you in a bit.
Yes, sir. You too.
Hey, I just wanted to let you know it looks like they're still in private session. We haven't forgotten about you.
Oh no, I've been there. I knew you're unfortunately they're probably going to be probably at least another 10 or 15 minutes if you're lucky.
Okay. All right. Well, I just didn't
But
want to make
thank
sure
you.
you didn't think we forgot about you.
Oh no, absolutely not. I appreciate you checking in.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
They are reassembling now, so I'm going to go ahead and unmute you in the room.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, everyone. Apologies for our tardiness tonight. Had some stuff to take care of, but we are here now. Do I have a motion to return to open session?
Second.
Ms. Franklin and Dr. Guitry. Any discussion? Ms. Osborne, please call the roll.
Ms. Bond?
Yes.
Ms. Franklin?
Yes.
Dr. Guitry?
Yes.
Ms. Parton?
Yes.
Ms. Purcell?
Yes.
Dr. Roundtree?
Yes.
Mr. Hudson?
Yes.
7 in favor.
Motion carries. Do I have a motion to certify closed session that to the best of each member's knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements by Virginia law were discussed in the closed meeting to which this certification applies, and only such public business matters as were identified in the motion convening the closed meeting were heard, discussed, or considered?
Second.
Ms. Franklin and Ms. Purcell, any discussion? Ms. Osborne, please call the roll.
Ms. Bond?
Yes.
Ms. Franklin?
Yes.
Dr. Guitry?
Yes.
Ms. Parton?
Abstain. I was not in the closed session.
Ms. Purcell?
Yes.
Dr. Roundtree?
Yes.
Mr. Hudson?
Yes.
6 in favor, 1 abstain.
Do I have a motion to long-term suspend student A?
So moved.
Second.
Dr. Roundtree and Ms. Franklin, any discussion? Ms. Osborne, please call the roll.
Ms. Bond?
Yes.
Ms. Franklin?
Yes.
Dr. Guitry?
Yes.
Ms. Parton?
Abstain.
Ms. Purcell?
Yes.
Dr. Roundtree?
Yes.
Mr. Hudson?
Yes.
6 in favor, 1 abstain.
Do I have a motion to expel student B?
So moved.
Second.
Dr. Roundtree and Ms. Purcell, any discussion? Ms. Osborne, please call the roll.
Ms. Bond,
Yes.
Ms. Franklin,
Yes.
Dr. Guidry,
Yes.
Ms. Parton,
Abstain?
Ms. Purcell,
Yes.
Dr. Roundtree,
Yes.
Mr. Hudson.
Yes.
6 in favor, 1 abstain.
Motion carries. All right. Next up are MCPS mission and belief statements. Our student representatives tonight are Disha Chalagia from Christiansburg High School and Asia McCone from Eastern Montgomery High School. Will you please read our mission and belief statements?
MCPS is an innovative educational community. We value diversity and we are committed to equity and inclusion. MCPS empowers learners to realize success in an ever-changing global society through collaboration with communities, families, staff, and students. MCPS provides a safe, engaging learning environment and intentional exposure to positive social, emotional, and academic experiences. MCPS believes all students can learn in order to pursue their dreams. Schools are safe places of joy, wonder, and creativity. Every person deserves to be loved, valued, and respected. Kindness is an essential skill of responsible, productive community member.
The diversity of our community is one of our greatest strengths. All people deserve equitable access to opportunities and resources. Every child deserves an advocate. Honoring the voices of students and other stakeholders strengthens the school community. Open communication and feedback are vital to our growth. Learning and teaching are collective efforts that begin at birth and involve the entire community. Relationship building and high expectations are foundational to student success.
Okay, great. Thank you both. Next item of business is the student representative reports. Disha, do you have a report from Christiansburg High School?
I do. Good evening. Since our last school board meeting update, CHS has had some exciting events take place and is looking forward to the second half of the first 9 weeks. Just over 2 weeks ago, CHS started its Hero Award recognition on Friday, September 6th, by honoring students who are here every day, ready and on time. CHS has partnered with local businesses such as Little Caesars, Sandro's, Pizza Inn, Red Robin's, and many more to give away free items to those students who are placing emphasis on being in school every day. CHS continues to navigate the new cell phone policy with success of seeing the positive impact of this decision in the classrooms, the hallway, and even in the cafeteria. Thank you, MCPS, for helping to lead the change in the state of Virginia and working to reestablish the educational environment. The CHS Marching Band hosted their second annual Festivals of the Band at CHS this past weekend, and it was a huge success. We had a packed house for the duration of the event and are excited for when we have more parking on the campus to make the event even bigger and better. The event also highlighted over 300 individuals from the Marching Virginia's performance in the CHS Stadium. Just yesterday, CHS was honored to host guest speaker Kevin Hines to speak to the entire CHS student body regarding suicide prevention and mental health awareness. Kevin is one of the few people to survive a suicide attempt nearly 20 years ago by jumping off the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco, California. Since that life-changing moment, he has dedicated his life to spreading the message of hope, resilience, and the importance of mental health care. Through his powerful story, Kevin has touched the lives of millions worldwide, encouraging individuals to seek help, support each other, and embrace life. In yesterday's assembly, Kevin had the students repeat the saying, "I need help now," to demonstrate the importance of reaching out for help. The message was well received by the CHS student body, and we felt fortunate to have Kevin visit our school. Homecoming week is just around the corner, and CHS is hosting the Pulaski County Cougars on Friday, September 27th. We also utilized our home football game to recognize and honor 5 new inductees to the CHS Hall of Fame. To conclude our athletic fall team, we had some notable performances that included the CHS volleyball team took defending Region 3D champion and defending Class 3 champion to 5 games last week. The Lady Blue Demons currently sit at 2-2, but are excited to see what the season will bring. The boys and girls cross country team competed at one of the largest meets in the state of Virginia on September 7th and had an outstanding result. 2 of the Blue Demon runners had the most improved times of returning runners at the meet from last year to this year. The golf team is continuing to demonstrate success and compete today at Roanoke County Golf Club. The competition cheer squad has had their first competition of the season last Saturday at Heritage High School, with their next competition coming this weekend at Northside High School. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Disha. Asia, do you have a report from Eastern Montgomery High School?
I do. Good evening. Eastern Montgomery is off to a great start in this new month. We have new members and roles in our clubs, creating new daily tasks and allowing more students to feel involved to ensure that Eastern Montgomery is performing at its peak. In our student government, new representatives were hand-selected from an application process to ensure we have the strongest leadership team to make choices on homecoming, pep rallies, spirit weeks, and other school-wide activities. Our Interact Club is hosting a blood drive tomorrow, September 18th, to educate and help encourage others to help save another life. Our Bible Club has been meeting at the flagpole every morning to pray before the school day, bringing many students together bright and early in the morning. A few of our FBLA members are getting ready to set off to Richmond this Thursday for an opening conference for the club officers. The officers are excited with the intention of bringing back good resources and information to help grow their chapter. We have so many new and exciting programs and clubs forming every day to ensure everyone feels included in something. Our sports have been very interactive as well. Our volleyball teams played Auburn twice last week, winning multiple sets. Our cross-country team is getting stronger with every race, with multiple runners placing at the Hidden Valley meet this past Saturday, and our boys placing second overall out of 17 teams. The football games have been lots of fun, especially with our encouraging student section and our enthusiastic cheer team getting the crowd nice and loud. The golf team has been teeing off well, especially in their last match last weekend. We've also had a lot of college representatives coming to our school to give students an idea of what to expect when applying to college and what the college experience is really like. For example, JMU came today to talk about their school and what they had to offer. Last Friday, there was a field trip to NRCC for a college fair where students got the opportunity to talk with many different colleges and what their school is all about. Also, last week, we had a criminal justice field trip to NRCC to talk with real individuals who work in the criminal justice. We got to ask them about their jobs and any other interesting questions involving their line of work. The student body greatly appreciates these visits, as some students have trouble getting down to certain colleges for a proper tour. It's a great outreach program. Eastern Montgomery is thriving while also prepping for many new activities expected to come in October. We have homecoming, spirit week, the homecoming football game, senior nights, pep rallies, powder puff games, and so much more. We have a diligent and strong student body to make things happen in this upcoming month, and we are super excited. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Asia. All right, our next agenda item is public address. We welcome the opportunity to hear from students, parents, employees, and community members about education matters in this community. As a reminder, the board sets aside 30 minutes to start our public address. We have the option to extend in 30-minute increments, which Ms. Osborne will remind us of. If there are additional speakers after 90 minutes, the board will continue with their business meeting and hold one additional 30-minute session at the end of the business meeting. The clock continues through applause and disruptions. The more disruptions there are, the fewer speakers who get to address the board. I'll call each speaker up by name in the order that they signed up. Each speaker will have 3 minutes to address the board. The board does not respond to speakers during public address. The screens will show when the speaker has 30 seconds remaining and when their time is up. Please state your name and the area of the county you live in. The first speaker is Sarah Ballard, followed by Ellen Gilliland.
I'm Sarah Ballard from Christiansburg, Virginia. Good evening, school board members and Dr. Bragan. Thank you for this opportunity to talk to you this evening. I am an MCPS school counselor, and I want to talk with you tonight about a countywide decision that is impacting school counselors' ability to serve students' mental health needs. Mental health is a key pillar in the MCPS strategic plan. School counselors are placed in schools to design and deliver services to ensure equitable academic, career, and social-emotional development for all students. For this school year, school counselors have been assigned the role of 504 coordinator. There are several issues with requiring school counselors to be 504 coordinators. First, 504 coordination is explicitly listed as an inappropriate responsibility for school counselors by the American School Counseling Association. It places counselors in an adversarial role which can negatively impact relationships with students, parents, and teachers. Instead of participating in a 504 meeting on behalf of the student and family as an advocate to help them navigate the 504 process, we have been placed in the position of determining eligibility and accommodations, a position we are not able to maintain. Second, this change was not shared with counselors with enough time to adequately prepare for the role, and school counselors were not given a choice of accepting this position, which essentially equates to a part-time job. To my knowledge, this is the only required stipend position in the county, rather than allowing employees a voluntary acceptance. Third, according to Virginia Law 22.1291.11, school counselors are required to spend 80% of their time in direct services to students. This is Virginia law. This does not include coordinating special accommodations for 504 plans, which makes it impossible to follow this legal requirement. Our division is already in violation of this ratio, and diverting even more of our school counseling resources to 504 coordination puts us even further out of compliance. Mental health needs are at an all-time high, and 504 coordination takes us away from the growing mental health crisis in our schools. It has been discussed that 504 coordinator become its own position in our schools next year. While this is a good solution for the future, the impact is happening now. We need a resolution now. For many students, school counselors are the only access to a mental health professional and supporting resources. We are asking for your help and appreciate your support for school counselors and the mental health of our students as these conversations progress. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ballard. Next up is Ellen Gilliland, followed by Charlene and Michael Carpenter.
Good evening. My name is Ellen Gilliland, and I'm also a school counselor at Christiansburg High School. Last week, school counselors from across the county met with Dr. Bragan and other members of MCPS leadership to voice our shared concerns about school counselors' assignment to 504 coordinator responsibilities. Our concerns include the ethical conflict of serving in two different roles on the 504 team, school counselors' increasing assignment to non-counseling tasks, and as a result, our decreasing availability to meet students' mental health needs. Virginia law states that school counselors should spend at least 80% of their time in direct counseling services to students. Simply put, this means face time with students to address social and emotional development, academic and career planning, and very importantly, mental health. Mental health is important to students' physical health and physical safety. When counselors are not available to students, students and schools are less connected, less healthy, and less safe. Examples are helpful, so as an example, in the past week, I spent a significant amount of time on non-counseling tasks, including coordinating 2 college fair events, planning for the PSATs, leading 504 meetings, monitoring virtual Virginia students, and managing the steady stream of paperwork for late-term course changes, early graduation, work-based learning, transfer students, and 504 compliance and testing accommodations. I also think we must consider the opportunity cost. If I had more availability for direct services with students, I would use it for individual check-ins with students to follow up after a crisis situation or major disciplinary incident, and for small counseling groups to focus on addressing chronic absenteeism, closing academic gaps and academic confidence gaps that linger from the pandemic, and building social and coping skills to combat stress and loneliness. An encouraging outcome of the meeting last week was that the superintendent agreed to bring a proposal to the school board that would allocate a portion of next year's budget for dedicated 504 coordinator positions. We estimate that just a few dedicated coordinator positions could meet the need for 504 case management for all K through 12 students in the district. This would also protect school counselors' relationships with the students and the families we serve, and it would protect school counselors' time to do the important work we are uniquely trained to do. Please support this proposal to fund dedicated 504 coordinator positions. Thank you for your time and your support.
Thank you, Ms. Gilliland. Next up is Charlene and Michael Carpenter, followed by Lauren Ehrman.
Hi, I'm Charlene. This is my son, Micah. I spoke to you guys last week. Micah has a FASD, fetal alcohol spectrum disorder. So I just wanted you all to actually meet him. So I'm going to ask him a couple of questions, and he's going to answer for you all today. So what's hard for you at school, Micah?
Doing reading, math, and social studies, and all other people.
And what do you do when things are hard?
Hit, scream, call neighbors, and run away.
And what are things that help you?
People and boys.
And so Micah struggles being around a lot of people. So being here tonight, he was struggling sitting over here while you all were back in the back. And so he's very anxious about being here, but I wanted to show him that he can advocate for himself. I'm his biggest advocate, but he needs to start learning to advocate for himself. Micah goes to Minnick Private Day School this year. He's finally having success down there. There needs to be an option within our county that's like Minnick, because they have special things that they can do down there that our county just can't do, even in a learning lab. And so I don't know if Micah will be able to come back to the county. I hope he can, but I just wanted you all to actually see someone that affects things that you do. And I just am so proud that he's able to come up here and talk to you. Okay.
Great, thank you. Next up is Lauren Ehrman, followed by Karen Rainey.
I'm Lauren Ehrman. I'm from Blacksburg. Good evening. I'm here to support the school counselors and give my impressions of why adding an additional role of 504 coordinator onto their duties is ultimately going to hurt our students. My background is as a counselor. I hold a PhD in counselor education, and I teach in a counselor education master's degree program at Radford University, where we educate clinical and school counselors, including many who currently serve in our schools at MCPS. Unless you have ever truly been in the trenches, you have no idea what a physical and emotional toll counseling takes. Given what is happening in schools across the country, what happened with students at Blacksburg High School just last year, we know that we need our counselors to focus on our children and their mental health now more than ever. Many of our counselors already carry too large a load. The American School Counselor Association recommends a 250-to-1 ratio of students to counselor. That is definitely not happening in all of our schools, but our counselors make it work, just as they have been doing for us for years. When the decision to add on the 504 coordinator responsibilities was made, school counselors did not report to an individual with any counseling pedigree or background, which I believe is an enormous mistake and a clear dismissal of our counselors' level of importance and need for clinical supervision by a qualified and licensed counselor. In order to best serve our children, these decisions need to be made when counselors have a direct supervisor who is qualified to understand mental health and can appropriately advocate for counselors and children. When we add another burden of responsibility onto our counselors, in this case being a 504 coordinator, we ultimately minimize the care we offer our children in those schools. Instead of offering dire mental health services to students, We are instead forcing our counselors to spend more time on administrative duties. Certainly, 504 plans are important, but we need to be supporting our counselors, not forcing additional workload on them, while at the same time touting the importance of mental health counseling. A final thought is that counselors should only be doing one thing, counseling. We know that they are asked to wear many hats, and they do this without complaint. But to be clear, it is actually a boundary violation for counselors to be participating in multiple roles with their clients. In the schools, resources are minimal, and it is often all hands on deck. But technically, asking counselors to participate in additional roles is an ethical no-no. School counselors are dwindling. There are fewer going into the field. I can attest to that as a counselor educator. And I'm beginning to understand why. We can't say that students' mental health is of the utmost importance and then ignore how the extra burden we place on our counselors is negatively affecting our children. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Ehrman. Next up is Karen Rainey, followed by Kelly Brennan.
Hey guys, I'm Karen Rainey, Christiansburg, Virginia. Good evening, members of the board, Dr. Bragan, student representatives. I am the parent of 13 children, 11 who are adopted and 7 who attend MCPS currently. They all have varying levels of special needs. I'm here tonight to share the critical challenges my family and many others like mine are facing in the district's special education system. On Monday, August the 12th, I received a phone call that my child would not be starting school that day with his peers. Not because of any disciplinary issue, but because the school didn't have the appropriate staff. This hit us hard as we spent the entire summer working with special education and even toward MNIC as a potential option. 8 days later, I got a call to pick up my child for a scratch on his lip. After further investigation, I learned the principal did not know about this, which left me confused and frustrated. When did a scratch warrant being removed and sent home? This kind of inconsistent communication and support has left my family feeling rejected by a district that claims to be all-inclusive. The promise is simply not reflected in our experiences, and this has set a negative tone for the rest of the school year. That said, there are some bright spots. We have built a really strong relationship with the principal at CES. Her support has been a rare comfort that we usually don't have. Unfortunately, not all of our experiences has been this positive. One of our children, who attends Liberty University Online Academy, struggled significantly at CMS. Despite minimal attendance this year, she was suspended more often than she was in class. A few days ago, we were notified that our child with fetal alcohol spectrum disorder had been assaulted on the bus ride home by a student 3 times his size. As of this morning, no repercussions had happened. I had to send a text message to the Dean of Students. These are symptoms of a larger problem in how MCPS supports or fails to support special needs students. Our district's lack of options for these students is unacceptable. Why are children like mine forced to attend schools that are not equipped to handle their needs or wait for out-of-district placements that can take months to secure? We have been waiting months for a placement we're not even comfortable with. Those who do get placed out of district have a bigger burden. I've lived this experience before with a foster child we care for. There's an hour bus ride to MNIC, 5 hours of school, another hour home, and by the time she got home, her behavior and mood were impossible to manage. Why should our children have to endure this just to get the education they deserve? At the last meeting, Dr. Walker discussed creating labs for special needs students.
Thank you, Ms. Rainey. Your time is up.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Kelly Brennan.
Good evening. My name is Kelly Brennan. It's nice to see you all. I've not been here for a little while. I want to thank each of you for your dedication and service to our community, because it takes a tremendous amount of time and effort. and I understand that. I'm here tonight in support of the entirety of Montgomery County Public Schools. What you've just heard is really important. But I'm here specifically in support of the courageous students, former students, and parent who spoke out about the use of racial slurs a couple of months ago. I'm pleased that in response, a hate speech policy is being developed. And you've received a lot of really excellent comments and ideas from a number of individuals. And I'm eager to see what you come up with. It is certainly a timely task and a complex task, but it needs to be completed and implemented in a near time frame future. The only thing I would add is that we really need to start with a very specific definition of hate speech. And I would suggest looking to the Southern Poverty Law Center for that information if you haven't already gotten it. However, I do believe that the real solution lies in open, regular, honest, and constructive conversation between all concerned parties. And frankly, that's all of us. Most people I know are not comfortable talking about race, and I know I am not, especially when speaking with folks with a different opinion or worldview. I would suspect this is true for our students, and I think this is where social emotional learning comes into play. I believe that SEL has the potential to help us engage with and attend to the deepest vexing issues facing us. Through the 5 tenets of self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, relationship skills, and responsible decision-making, we can change the world for the better for all of us. But we need to be all in on this, and this is why I'm not optimistic about the SEL curriculum you all recently adopted, not because of the content, but because of the lack of public discussion and less than enthusiastic adoption of this curriculum by this board. The most weighty comments made in public were, "This is great, but where are we going to fit this into our schedule?" And it's one more thing to put on teachers' plates. And believe me, I get that. I totally get that. So that's why I believe we should be investigating an across-the-board SEL curriculum. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Brennan. And with that, public address is closed. All right, next are our consent items. If no one wishes to move an item out of consent, we will consider these items approved. To draw the board's attention to the donation from the Kiwanis Club of Montgomery County, say thank you to them for their donation. All right. Do I have a motion to acknowledge receipt of the financial summary report for August 2024?
So moved. Second.
Dr. Guthrie and Dr. Roundtree, any discussion? Ms. Osborne, please call the roll.
Ms. Bond? Yes. Ms. Franklin?
Yes.
Dr. Guthrie?
Yes.
Ms. Parton?
Yes.
Ms. Purcell?
Yes.
Dr. Roundtree?
Yes.
Mr. Hudson?
Yes.
7 in favor.
Motion carries. Do I have a motion to approve the payment of bills as presented?
Second.
Ms. Bond and Ms. Purcell. Any discussion? Ms. Osborne, please call the roll.
Ms. Bond? Yes. Ms. Franklin?
Yes.
Dr. Guthrie?
Yes.
Ms. Parton?
Yes.
Ms. Purcell?
Yes.
Dr. Roundtree?
Yes.
Mr. Hudson?
Yes.
7 in favor.
Motion carries. And that brings us to our business meeting. And first up is the report from the superintendent.
Thank you, Chair Hudson. I only have a few things. Today is actually Constitution Day. On September 17th, 1787, the founders signed the most influential document in American history, the United States Constitution. This document established the framework of the United States government and the rights and the freedoms that we, the people, enjoy today. In commemoration of Constitution Day and Citizenship Day, our schools were encouraged to provide educational program and resources and materials about the U.S. Constitution. and that was on today, Constitution and Citizenship Day. In addition to that, I'd like to report that we had our first scheduled meet and greets with the superintendent, which would be me, in Blacksburg last week. And we had about a dozen people that attended, and it was a great opportunity for me to get direct feedback from our parents and our community and to hear their concerns and address some of the things that came up. Really look forward to it. I love having those dialogues that are kind of free form and gives people an opportunity to have direct access and share their thoughts, good and bad. We plan to do one of those in each of our communities. Our next scheduled one is in Reiner on the 24th of this month at 1 p.m. And we're going to be at the Auburn Hills Country Club. And if you can make it, please come out, even if you're not in Auburn. If you're not from Reiner and it's an opportunity and it fits into your schedule, we're trying to schedule them at different times during the day, in the morning, the afternoon, and in the evenings to try to catch everybody. So please come out and let me know what your thoughts are. And I only have one other thing. At a recent board meeting, a board member asked me about the school, whether we have access to panic-type buttons after the incident that happened in Georgia with the terrible shooting that took place there. And we do. I don't want to elaborate or talk too much about it because it's part of our safety and security plan, but we do have access to those types of devices when and if an emergency should take place. That's all I had, Board Chair.
Great, thank you, sir. All right, next up, I'm Helen Afatinos, our Administrator of Gifted Programs. We'll share a presentation on the MCPS Dual Language Immersion Academy.
Good evening, everyone. Members of the board, thank you for your time this evening. I'd like to share a proposal for a program model that I believe will benefit our students and families. I'm going to begin by throwing a lot of information at you. I think it's important to understand what all of this means before you can start to decide if this is what's best for MCPS. So forgive me for the 10-minute tutorial that I'm about to give you after I find my clicker. Tosh, what am I missing? You just click for me. I appreciate that. Okay, first off, what does dual language immersion mean? I did a lot of learning so that you didn't have to. So dual language immersion is an approach to language learning that utilizes English and a second partner language. The purpose of this program is to strengthen the educational experience of native English-speaking students by teaching them a second language while also providing educational equity to English learners by providing instruction in their primary language, which will support their English language development. Students learn academic content in either language, and DLI is one of the 5 approved language instruction educational program models in Virginia. There are 3 goals, 3 pillars of dual language immersion. Hit it. Did I give you a little thumbs up? First, bilingualism and biliteracy. So students will gain the ability to speak, read, and write proficiently in 2 languages. Fluency in both reading and writing will be presented through academic performance that is at or above grade level in both languages. Second, grade level academic achievement. High levels of proficiency in the student's dominant as well as second language will be developed. And finally, intercultural competence. Students' individual perspectives will be broadened, and they will achieve an understanding and appreciation for different cultural backgrounds. So let me speak a little bit more to the 3 pillars. Biliteracy goes beyond the acquisition of 2 separate languages. It refers to the ability to use the knowledge of one language to support learning in the other language. So in a DLI program, students are learning content through the 2 languages. They must develop listening, reading, writing, and speaking skills in both their primary and their partner language. The skills that students acquire go beyond what a student might achieve in a traditional world language classroom. And students attain both conversational and academic skills in the partner language, native-like pronunciation, and an awareness of cultural and specific nonverbal cues. Tasha, if you can go to goal 2, please. These programs are committed to ensuring high academic achievement for all students in both their native languages and in the partner language. And this type of instruction promotes higher order thinking, collaboration skills throughout each school day. The third goal or third pillar is intercultural competence. This is foundational to the student's success in a DLI education and should be an integral focus of any program implementation. This pillar affirms and values student identity and inclusiveness and equips students with the self-confidence needed for ongoing academic success. It also provides the opportunity for teachers and administrators to engage and connect with families and the community to support learners. I think it's really important to note that all DLI programs are additive. So this is not learning one language in the stead of the other. Students are leaving this program bilingual in 2 languages at no cost to their first language. Who benefits from this type of program? These programs are beneficial for all students enrolled. Longitudinal research studies show higher academic outcomes for all DLI students. This includes English language learners, native English speakers, Latinos, Caucasian Americans, Asian Americans, African Americans, students from low socioeconomic backgrounds, students identified as qualifying for Title I services, students with special education needs. Every student can benefit from this. Further research studies in a variety of communities show that students enrolled in DLI programs outperform their non-DLI peers. In Oregon, a RAND study found that 5th graders outperform their peers by 13% on state reading tests in English. The same study found that L students reached English proficiency at a higher rate than DLI programs. And a 20-year longitudinal study by Thomas and Collier showed that DLI is the only model to fully close the achievement gap for L learners. Additionally, students gain self-esteem. They develop enhanced cognitive skills like improved working memory, increased attention, and enhanced problem-solving abilities. These programs promote sociocultural competence, increase community and parental engagement, and often are found to increase attendance rates for students. So that's a lot of information and research. Any questions before I keep going? Okay, let's talk about how these programs could be structured. There are 2 models of student enrollment. One is called a two-way model. That is a model where every effort is made to make equal numbers of students enrolled in the partner language and in English. So you would have about 50% of your student enrollment speaking the partner language, 50% English language. A one-way model would be the majority of students speak English and are there to learn their partner language. Now let's talk about daily instructional models. 2 models exist. 50-50 is when 50% of your day is in the partner language, 50% is in English, and students flip-flop back and forth. The 90-10 model refers to 90% of your time in the partner language, and that looks like kindergartners and first graders fully immersed in that partner language. They do almost exclusively all of their learning in the partner language. That 10% happens during specialties, lunch, recess. Then slowly throughout the rest of elementary school, you add in English instruction until you get to 5th grade, and then you're at that 50-50 model. So now that you know about models and you know a little bit about the background, let me tell you what I would like to propose for MCPS. I'd like to propose a Spanish 2-way model, 90-10 to begin with in kindergarten, and hiring classroom teachers who are bilingual with highly developed language acquisition skills. We would provide extensive training to these teachers on language acquisition and the intercultural competencies and the pillars of this program. We would follow all of the MCPS core curriculum, following the elementary program of studies that we already have adopted. Students would take the same state and division assessments as other students, including the Virginia SOLs, all in English. Additionally, teachers would use other data collected from class and school assignments for accountability and to gauge the effectiveness of this program. Most of our adopted curricular materials already come in Spanish, so we wouldn't have to spend any extra money or do a lot of extra work. CKLA comes in something called Caminas. The new math programs that we are looking at are also available in Spanish, and then both our 5 Ponds Press Science and Social Studies curriculum come in Spanish already, so no additive costs at that point. The staff for what we would be calling the Dual Language Academy would obviously most importantly be the classroom teacher. We would involve the instructional coach in the building and the building principal. Myself as the director of Gifted and the administrator of ESL would be involved, and then our director of elementary education would oversee the program. As for enrollment, as I said, every effort would be made to make a 50-50 model. I know that's not quite possible in our area at this time, but we would do our very best to recruit as many Spanish-speaking students as possible into the program. By holding formal and informal informational meetings for families to answer any questions that they may have, and doing some community outreach and recruitment for that. We will also create an application process and an educational model to help our families understand the importance of committing to this program for the duration of their elementary school career. If we do have more families interested than seats, we will come up with a lottery method to make it as fair as possible for students to enroll in this. We will also honor as many students in the homeschool as possible and then fill seats as if we can from schools outside of that school district. We can't have a program without evaluating it and making sure that we are moving forward and serving students. So we will do that in several ways. Collecting school and district data, that happens regularly already, so we will continue to do that. Stakeholder surveys, I think that'll be really important to communicate with families and teachers and other individuals in the school building to make sure that everyone is in support of the program. Finally, I have been investigating a potential partnership with the Center for Educational Networks and Impacts at Virginia Tech, and they are very interested in partnering with us to develop a longitudinal empirical study for the MCPS model. Now the most important part, cost. There will be some anticipated costs for this. The most expensive part, I think, will be professional development at the get-go. So myself, I've done a lot of self-learning over the last few months on this, but getting some official education on this so that I make sure that I'm leading a strong program. Also educating our school administrator, our school coach, and the teachers will be very important. As I said, most of the MCPS curriculum is already available in Spanish. We will need to build classroom libraries with authentic Spanish language texts. As well as some additional supplemental materials just to support the learning. Every effort will be made to recruit local teachers or teachers within the U.S. There are quite a few programs that bring in international teachers that have a lot of success. There is a cost associated to that with recruiting teachers internationally, supporting J-1 visas. I do think it will strengthen our program, but we will cross that bridge when we get to it. Finally, I think the opportunity for community and family engagement here is tremendous. So hosting monthly community engagement, bringing those parents together, educating English-speaking parents on how to support their students in Spanish, educating Spanish-speaking parents on how to support their students in English, and then really developing a community between those families, I think will be fantastic and money well spent. Okay, I have talked a lot. What would you like to know from me?
Great presentation. Board, any questions to start?
I don't know if I have a question, but I would like to say that was one of the sessions that I took at our last national conference that I went to, and I was thrilled. Sad to say we were just coming out of COVID at that time, so it kind of dropped, but I was so excited when I got back because it was amazing what I saw.
100%.
And I have been completely blown away with something like this since. So I'm so thankful that you're bringing it to us because I think it would be fantastic.
I think it'll put Montgomery County on the map. There are no DLI programs west of Henrico, so I think it'll be something that could be a real trophy in our case.
And I think everything that I heard in that session was positive. There wasn't anything that was negative. Students actually had better test scores. Everything about it was positive.
Yeah.
So thank you.
I've been blown away by the data.
Yeah, it's been good.
Good.
Great. We'll go around. Dr. Guthrie?
Thank you very much as well. So what's the demand right now for it?
I will be honest, I did not feel that I should ask people if they wanted it before I came to ask you if you wanted it. So next steps for me would be surveying the community and the school communities to see, I mean, I have an idea of what school I think would fit best, but I think that needs to be school driven. The school needs to be behind that. So interviewing and asking teachers and administrators if they're behind it, and then asking families. Just informally, me speaking to families, every one of them has been like, yes, that sounds amazing. Me personally, I wish my children had had an opportunity like this. I was able to speak to the director in Winchester County, and he enrolled his own children in the program there, so I think that speaks volumes. So I have no data officially. Everyone I've spoken to unofficially has said yes, but again, I would never presume to do anything like that without speaking with you all first.
Smart. Thank you. I think for me, I'm in general very supportive. I think it would be wonderful to have something written up that has some of the details, like what school you're thinking of starting in, scaling up, the cost, like some of the nuts and bolts of it, not just
Yeah.
in a PowerPoint presentation, I think would be super helpful for us, but also for the community in terms of helping to garner support for it.
Yeah.
So I think that would be really helpful.
Am I allowed to say what school we're thinking?
You're not. Dr. Guidry's comments are great, and one of the things that Helen came up with this idea and presented it to me, and I thought it was a great idea in my experiences and my limited travel. We're the only country on the planet that most people are monolingual, especially when you look at Europe and some of the other countries. So I think it's a great benefit for a variety of reasons to our kids that are coming here and learning English, and to our kids here who are predominantly English speakers. There's a great benefit. But before we moved anything forward, I wanted to talk to the board in generalities. Is this something that, and when you're all done, you let me know, is this something that the school board wants us to pursue, get more information, and then come back and to present a more detailed approach? I don't want to waste the time and energy if y'all don't think it's worth moving forward. So that's why I asked Helen to kind of, not say everything or ideas that she's thinking right now until we get your permission to look at it, come back with a real detailed approach. What would the cost be? When we're going to implement it? What schools would it impact? How are we going to get children? We had some rough ideas, but we're not ready for that yet.
Okay, great. So in general, I am supportive. I would love if you do come back to show both the community support, but also, on some level, I could see why Spanish makes sense, but I would love to know what the community thinks as well.
Yeah,
so in general, I'm supportive. I'd like more information.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You
It was
bet.
a great presentation.
Ms. Franklin,
Oh, thank you.
say it loud.
I can't wait. This is for it to be in every school, for all of our students to have the opportunity to expand themselves. So hurry up.
Dr. Roundtree.
Yeah, I'm glad to see this occurring as well. The town I grew up in, Lafayette, Louisiana, has had a French immersion program for 20 years, and finally correcting the drastic measures that were taken in the 18th century of getting rid of the French-speaking people in Louisiana by forcing them to speak English in schools. So, yeah, we should definitely start teaching school languages at an earlier age, and this is a great step forward. I'd like to see it in all the elementary schools as well, and following in the 50-50 role in higher education.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Ms. Purcell.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Fotinas, for this wonderful presentation and fabulous idea. I'm fully supportive of it. When my daughter was in preschool daycare, she was in a Chinese immersion program at Rainbow Riders, and I know that there were some dreams to expand that beyond the pre-K, and that was 10 years ago, so I don't exactly know why it didn't, but I know that the Blacksburg Chinese School is still a strong force in the community, and I know small incremental steps that make sense, but kind of to add to what Dr. Guidry mentioned, there may be many different kinds of opportunities to grow a program like this in Montgomery County, so thank you.
Ms. Pardon, any comments?
Yes. First off, thank you so much for the presentation and the information. It was wonderful. I am totally in favor of possibly being able to implement this. I do know, I think a couple years before I actually got on the board as a board member, there were some talk of this nature with a program basically very similar to this. And I do believe that I think one concern that I am having now, which you can probably help me understand more if this might not be as a big of a concern now as it was before, it might be more of one, is that I know the state makes the teachers of this type of nature that you're talking about, the elementary endorsed teachers as well as fluent in the language. So my question would be, how hard is it going to be for us to actually find teachers that can actually do this for us. And then on top of that, how might we sustain it and to make sure that we have kids to follow through year after year, to make sure we have the numbers, and we have to advertise for the teachers and make sure we can keep the teachers, you know, here. Once we get them, we wouldn't want them leaving once we had the program established. So just some thoughts that were going through my mind. So I didn't know if you maybe had any input or information on that as well.
Yeah, those are totally valid. I think the next mountain to climb is finding teachers. I have my eye on a few MCPS teachers. They don't know it yet, but I happen to know that they are elementary endorsed and bilingual. So, you know, as again, with the board's approval moving forward, I will start reaching out to those teachers. I have considered speaking to Radford and Virginia Tech. I did meet with Virginia Tech and talk about the opportunity for student teachers to come and intern with us in locating or identifying the bilingual student teachers or teachers in the ed program and trying to develop them as teachers to bring into our program. There are companies that will help us hire international teachers that can come on a J-1 visa. They can come for 3 years with a 2-year extension. So there are a lot of programs in Virginia and in North Carolina that's how they staff the majority of their program. I'm hesitant to begin with international teachers. I think that we have a lot of talent here in MCPS that I would like to see us keep those teachers sort of in-house to begin with. I think the international teachers moving forward will bring some flair to our program, but I'd like to start with the teachers that we know. It is a valid concern and a mountain we're going to climb. I think it's hard to find teachers at all these days, but I think if we build a strong program, and I think if we support it as a board and as a district, then the teachers will come to us. I have to have faith in that.
Well, that sounds great. And I am looking forward to more information on it, and I do believe we need to try to implement this if at all possible. So thanks for all your research and your information.
Thank you.
School board reps, any comments on this?
I think it's a wonderful idea. Definitely interested. I wish that we're seniors now, but I really wish that I could speak more than one language.
Right?
So
Yeah.
I think it's a good idea and a great program to build up in our school system.
Thank you.
Yeah, I also agree. I mean, I wish that as someone who speaks a different language at home, I wish that there was more opportunities for people to go and speak different languages at school. So I think it's a really great idea.
Awesome, thanks.
Okay, great. I don't have anything else to add on top of what you've already heard. So great job. Feels like you've got the full support of this board to move forward.
Wonderful, thank you. Well, I'll be back soon with more information then. Thanks, have a good evening.
Great, thank you. Great job. All right, next up, do I have a motion to authorize a request to the Board of Supervisors for a capital transfer between ESSER projects to close out the remaining allocations?
So moved.
Second?
Dr. Roundtree and Ms. Purcell. Any discussion?
Those are ESSER fundings. You're on the first one, from the ESSER's building fund to ESSER's fire suppression stuff. We don't need the monies for those. That's where we allocated it for originally, and we completed those projects and don't need the money. So we want to move it over to some of the HVAC projects and the plumbing projects that we've been ongoing, and some we've actually completed. We're looking to get the reimbursement of the ESSER's money. The projects where it was allocated for were completed, so we're not cutting any money from those programs.
Your mic, Penny, sorry.
It's not on.
I would just like to see which projects that we're moving money to and from, and not just the broad building, fire.
Okay. Ms. Bland is here. I don't want to put you on the spot. Do you have that answer? If you don't, we'll come back and get that for the school board. She didn't give me a yes or no, so I'm not really sure.
Good evening. I think I have the information that you're looking for. Under the building portion, there were two areas. One was for Shawsville Middle School. There were some steps the front of the property where they had to actually dig out, take out all the steps, and they did a replacement there in the front of that. The original estimate on that project was very high. It was going to be very labor intensive. We actually did bids once we received that first estimate, and we were able to save a great deal of money. We had to take that original estimate and go ahead and submit that for approval for the funding. So those original estimates went in there, but after we did some bids, we saved quite a bit of money. The 330,000, the majority of that comes from that. There were a few projects that wrapped up a little faster, and we saved a little bit of money, and then bidding some of the materials saved that as well. But the majority of that does come from the Shawsville Middle School project. But I can provide a breakdown if you'd like to the board. I can give the specifics on that. The fire as well. It's the same situation. We received estimates when we were looking to do it. We did some pretty major upgrades, replaced a lot of fire systems in the schools. All of that's complete, and this is the remaining money. The reason we're moving it over, specifically for the HVAC projects, once we got into there were four different schools that we were doing that for. And we did original bids. We've gone through the process. As you get into that project, you find additional things that are needed, additional materials. They were also all done through the summer so that would be up and running for the schools when they, reopen for the school, for the students to come and back. And there were some labor crunches in order to do that, so some additional funds were needed to do that. This movement will allow us to pay the final bills and close out. But all projects will be complete, and they were as specified. But I'd be happy to provide a list to the board of each of those projects.
So, because we have seen the capital project list and all those fire projects and stuff, just to see, where they were completed, everything that was done, so we can check those off the list.
Sure.
So we'll know that.
I'd be glad to give you an extensive list. I have all of those projects for you. I'd be glad to share that with you.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Okay, board, any more discussion? Okay. Ms. Osborne, please call the roll.
Ms. Bond? Yes. Ms. Franklin?
Yes.
Dr. Gitcher?
Yes.
Ms. Parton?
Yes.
Ms. Purcell?
Yes.
Dr. Roundtree?
Yes.
Mr. Hudson?
Yes.
7 in favor.
Motion carries. Do I have a motion to authorize a request to the Board of Supervisors for a capital project transfer of $36,415 to the 2024-25 school operating budget?
So moved.
Dr. Guthrie and Ms. Bond, any discussion?
So again, I would just like to see more detail when we're transferring funds or moving funds, where it's going, where it came from, and why.
Sorry, my mic was off. We'll get all that information. I'll send it to the school board tomorrow.
This one was broken down a little bit more in the list, but I'd be curious about the light replacement and what all that encompassed.
Because one of the things I would like to see as far as painting, we had new buildings renovated buildings in Christiansburg, and I know there was some painting that needed to be done to make sure that that's getting taken care of also.
We'll get those specifics and share that with the board.
Okay, board, any more discussion? Ms. Osborne, please call the roll.
Ms. Bond?
Yes.
Franklin? Dr. Gitchery?
Yes.
Ms. Parton?
Yes.
Ms. Purcell?
Yes.
Dr. Roundtree?
Yes.
Mr. Hudson?
Yes.
6 in favor, 1 opposed.
Motion carries. Next up, the administration will provide data for the 10-day pupil membership for 2024-25. Dr. Barbara Wickham, our Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum and Instruction, is available for questions.
Good evening. Any questions that I can answer for you?
So have we had to add classrooms to any of our buildings that we weren't expecting because of the enrollment?
Unfortunately, our enrollment is down about 100 students.
Okay, so that's no. But, so even though we're down overall 100 students, but in no particular building has there been a bump where we've had to add?
No, we did add pre-K classrooms, a couple of pre-K classrooms, and that's not in the K-12 data, but we did add some pre-K classrooms.
Board, any other questions, comments? Going once, going twice. Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Next up, are there any items of unfinished business?
Can I bring up something from our last meeting?
Sure.
So we did not approve the health, the wellness policy, and there was something that was brought to my attention. We talked about that in the last meeting. That was the last meeting, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there are questions about the committee, the makeup of that committee. Was that run as a superintendent's committee or as a school board committee? Because what was brought to our attention, at least to our attention, was that, and I looked at the code, that we're not required, but if we do have that committee, that it is a school board committee.
I'll look into that, Dr. Guthrie. I don't know off the top of my head. It was a school health advisory board, I believe is what we called it. Mr. Garrettson, I don't know if you have any specific information on that you could share now. I know I didn't give you an opportunity to prepare, but. School board committee.
Oh, it is the school board committee. Oh, okay. Because I'm coming, Mr. I don't know when it was formed, but there are questions about the makeup of that committee, because if you do have, of that board, but if you have the board, that there's like a certain number of people on it, and so I was curious about whether we met the requirements for that board, in addition to whether it was a school board committee.
I'm not sure off the top of my head. I don't know if Mr. Garrettson is ready to talk about that, but we did, after the last meeting, decide that we were going to reassemble that committee, and if we need to make sure it meets different criteria for who are members of that committee, we'll do that, and I'll bring it to the board before we have that final iteration of the policy.
Okay. And then the last, very quickly, the last thing I was going to ask about that, it wasn't clear to, I know we voted it down, but did we give any advice to the administration of how to maybe move that forward? Because we're obligated to have that policy.
Well, we currently have one in place. We were updating it. We haven't gotten rid of that policy. It's in place. It's outdated, though. We want to update it to get more information and accurate information, but it is in place. We have one.
Okay, and is there some deadline that we have to pass any revisions, or is there some reason that we're doing the revisions at this time?
Mr. Garrettson could speak more specifically, but what he shared with me was that it's outdated, and we wanted to update it for our own internal purposes. We weren't behind any deadlines or anything, to my knowledge.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Board, any other items of unfinished business?
I know we had a presentation from Dr. Walker about some specific supports for special education students. But I was honestly a little surprised by that particular presentation, because I know that there's been a review and there have been other policies in the works, and I was just wondering when we might get that information presented to us.
We're close to getting that review finished, and I will share that with the board chair and how he wants to get that information out, and it'll either be on an agenda or however we disseminate that information. That's not complete yet, but we're close. A lot of the work was done over the summer, and the person doing the review wanted to make sure she can come in and see our students when they're in class and in session and all that, and we purposely didn't want to release any information ahead of time because there was preliminary information. Didn't want to taint the school on-site visits if people had that information ahead of time.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so I'm going to keep bringing up our hate speech policy to make sure we're moving with that. I would really like to see things going or something in place by the end of October, that we're showing some progress here, especially involving our students. Also, with Montgomery Central, I still have a concern with our short-term students being out of school and not getting some good educational guidance, let's put it that way, and just kind of left on their own, because a few days can make a big difference. And yeah, okay, we need to fix that.
We're looking into both of those things on the hate speech. I think I said at the last meeting, I want to make sure we get as much feedback and as input as we can, and I've gotten some from individual board members have shared things with me. I've met with several students who had really good feedback. I met with the leadership from the Christiansburg Institute, who had some feedback, and some students from Virginia Tech offered some advice as well. Our officers in the equity department, our administrators offered some really good feedback. And I heard someone say tonight, perhaps I should reach out to the Southern Poverty Law Center for getting information there too. So I think we're getting all that. And then we haven't had the definitive legal aspect of what they think we should or shouldn't do, and we're getting that too. So I will get all that, and I think what we had mentioned at the last board meeting, we bring it back for discussion. And then what do you all think as a school board, and if there's more public input at that point, we'll get that too.
Okay, just going to keep bringing it up, that's all.
That's fine.
Okay, board, anything else? Okay, great. Are there any items of new business?
Yeah, so I'd like to bring up one. So currently, we send 14 of our students from our county to other areas of the state for educational services, as was spoken about earlier today. Some of those students are taking a bus ride for an hour, hour and a half to get to school every day. So they're throwing the bus 3 hours. These are special ed students. I would really like to understand better what the cost of that is to the county and what the cost would be for us to bring services back towards Montgomery Central or some other facility inside of our county so that we can treat these students a little better, in my opinion.
We will definitely look into that. One of the things that Dr. Walker presented on is the continuum of services and working with those academic labs to provide some more intensive services for some of our students who need it that maybe aren't benefiting 100% from being fully included for the entire day, that they need more intensive support services outside of that general ed setting. And in line with that, as you're saying, Dr. Roundtree, that some students that are receiving services in private day schools, well, if that's the need, can we do that type of service in our own division? That makes total sense to me. And we'll see, we'll get information. There will be a cost, right? Because it's more intensive services. The teacher student ratios would be much lower for some of the kids with more intensive needs. But I think that's a great idea, and it would be a great resource, again, for us in the county to have.
Right. Yeah, and a differential cost would be great, so that, because we do pay those private day schools currently, correct?
I get all that info. They get paid actually out of different monies than what that our budget comes from. But I'll get all that. I don't want to speak out of line on that.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, board, anything else? Oh, sorry.
So I don't remember when we're supposed to bring stuff up, new, old sometimes, or just information. But I would like to know what's going on with the 504 coordinators. With everything that's been said tonight, we all know this, and we talk about it as a board and have been for years, but yet we're going to burden our counselors with something else that they say is a conflict. And I'm concerned about our ratios. I know it is difficult to find counselors, but we need to utilize who we have to do the best we can for our students. So I'd like to know where we're at with that. Also, with the panic buttons, my daughter substitutes in another state, and it's in Georgia, where they had one of the most recent shootings. And one of the things that she talked about was the training of our substitutes and the access. So when they are in our buildings, I'd like to know if they are prepared in the same way that our students, our teachers and staff are, because you just don't know. In her case, there could be a whole class level that is doing some kind of professional development, and the whole class level is a grade level is being covered by substitutes. So I'd like to know where we're at with that.
I'll take a look at that. I don't know how well our substitute teachers are trained on our security measures, but that is an area that it's a potential weakness, and so we'll double check on that. As far as the 504 with the school counselors, there was feedback that we got last year that the 504 coordinators at some of our larger schools were teachers, and we were taking teachers out of the classroom for periods at a time, getting substitutes for them to do the coordinating activities, and that wasn't what was the best practice for us for our teachers, right? So we spoke with our administrators and our principals and asked them what were some options that didn't include teachers, and we gave it to the principals to come up with those decisions. Now, I heard from the school counselors. I actually met with some of the people here tonight and a larger group as well last week, and I assured them that I understand what you're saying. I understand the conflicts, that we're going to meet with the school principals, particularly at the bigger schools and the secondary schools where the need is larger, and come up with a different solution, and we will. And we'll try to ease that burden and get back to that 80-20 goal that we want to have for everybody, where they do 80% of the time for the school counselors is actually doing counseling services with children, and the rest is the administrative that we have to take care of. We're committed to that. We're also committed to, this school board is committed and should be proud. You have additional school counselors in the budget this year that are in place and operating. We have a SERVE grant that we still didn't get the money in our hands yet. That's going to provide us more counselors as well as more NRVCS counselors in Blacksburg. So while we may not be at the ideal ratio for every building, we're a whole lot closer than we were last year at the 250 students per counselor, and we're still working towards it. So I met with the counselors. They could tell you, I heard their concerns. I gave them my word. We were going to work on it. I didn't make any promises. I told them this. I wasn't writing a check with my mouth that I couldn't cash from my rear end. I did say that, and I said that verbatim, I think. We're committed to easing the burden for them. We know how valuable that is in the service they provide for our kids, who in today's day and age are just more needy than they've ever been. So I'll update you, though. I'm going to meet with the building principals. I think I have that scheduled. I don't want to look at my phone right now, but and I'm sure if we put our heads together, we'll come up with a solution.
Okay, so I'm glad we're talking to our administrators and folks who are running the buildings, but I think our counselors hold a very different role. And sometimes when we just pile things on this position and this position and this position, we shouldn't be doing that. And I know it takes resources not to do that. So we, as a board, need to be outlining how those things affect our budget. And when we make a presentation to our supervisors, helping them understand when we're asking for funds that we need for 504 coordinators who are doing that work and not our counselors or our teachers, that would be the best thing for our students.
I think we're on the same page, Ms. Franklin.
I hope so.
Board, anything else? Oh, yeah.
So I just want to reiterate that when I appreciate the commitment to fixing this issue. I've heard about it before this evening. What I would really like when you come back to the board with the different solutions are specifics, so that we can feel confident that it's not just generalities. We've got something to fix this, that we can give, that we can speak confidently to the community that we're taking care of these students. So that's what I'm looking for when it comes back to us, and I appreciate it.
100%. I didn't say it, Dr. Hitch, because I don't know it yet. we're going to collaborate and come together and come up with it. I could spitball what I think, but that's not, how we want to lead. So when I get
I
it,
don't want to
I'll
put
bring
you
it.
on the spot right now,
Okay.
but when you do come, I want to, like, the cost, the numbers, ratios, specifics.
Fair enough.
I just wanted to put a perspective into your head, I guess. At our school, we have a counselor and a half, really. One of our counselors specifically works with freshmen, and then the other counselor does everything. And I know that we go to a smaller school, so more counselors aren't needed as other big schools like Christiansburg and Blacksburg and stuff. But in the past week, I went to a criminal justice fair. I went to a college fair. I did college applications, NCAA, and Common App. And all of those things, me individually, were with my one guidance counselor. I do not know a lot about this 504 plan. I'm not going to pretend like I do. And I know that you're going to try to fix it all. But I can see how overwhelmed that the guidance counselors can get. And I understand where they're coming from whenever they're speaking of this, because we have one, essentially. So
I appreciate it.
I think to Ms. Franklin's point, right, to my knowledge, this has been a stipend position for a while, right? And so we're kind of kicking it around like a hot potato, right? So the teachers had it, teachers don't want it, now the counselors have it, counselors have plenty of responsibilities. Can't keep kicking it around, right? You're gonna ask the custodians to do it next, right? It's like, so we got to solve the problem, right?
I was thinking school board members. I'm just saying.
Yeah, sure. So I think that, to Penny's point, if this is we need to ask for more positions to do this right. We need to know the costs. We need to get it, get the plan going so we can start socializing that with the board of supervisors.
Agreed.
Okay. On board, anything else? Under a new business? I forgot where we were.
I have a new business, board chair, if it's okay.
Oh, sure.
Some of the leadership from the MCA asked me to actually asked the school board if you all would permit them on a somewhat regular basis to just give an MCA update in regards to the association and what's going on and what they're doing and maybe what their needs may or may not be. It wasn't something I told them that I'm able to do, but I said I could share with the school board if they thought that was appropriate as, I don't know, an agenda item or so, give them some time at a particular somewhat regular space. Doesn't have to be every school board meeting. I don't know if it's every other month or whatever, but I shared that I would share with all of you. And that's really your authority to make that decision.
So were there specific areas that they wanted to talk about or just in general?
No, I think they just wanted to communicate with the school board on a somewhat regular basis is what I got. I know the president was here, but I don't think she's here anymore. That's what they shared with me, and I said I would share it with the school board.
I'm good with it.
So like a periodic agenda item, kind of like the personnel report. Oh, well, yeah, right. Opportunity for them to present, us ask questions, engage, right?
I imagine that is what it would be, yes.
Okay.
That sounds good. A little bit more information on what kind of periodicity they want would be
That's what I was
good.
going to say. I would want to know how often.
So I'll get that and bring it back to y'all. Is that fair? What are they actually thinking? What's exactly? But I wanted to get a yay or nay before I did that. Okay.
Because we've got
Okay.
tons of stuff.
I could do that.
Okay, board, anything else under new business? Are there any announcements?
I've got a lot.
Oh, wait.
I've got a lot of announcements.
Announcements, got it, go.
Okay, so we'll go back to September 5th, which was a beautiful night in Blacksburg. There was, I think, a JV football game going on at BHS. There was a fabulous curriculum night at BMS. And I would like to thank Dr. Johnson, the other administrators and faculty and staff who make that happen. It was also the 30th birthday at Kipps Elementary School, and it was just such a joyful event, a meeting of parents, students past and present, and educators. It's just a very, very special school and an amazing community. And in general, just being at that length of Price's Fork Road that evening reminded me that nothing brings a community together like a public school. And so I just want to thank everyone that put all of those things together and worked so hard for our kids. On September 11th, I attended the Governor's School for the Arts and Humanities at Radford University meeting with Dr. Bragan and Mrs. Fotinos. President Danilowitz discussed details about funding and curriculum, and maybe this should have gone under new business also, but at some point in the coming months, we should probably have some kind of formal presentation to this board about those efforts. It's really exciting opportunity. And finally, I'd like to thank Dr. Bragan for providing the extra financial support so that Kevin Hines could present at BHS and CHS. I guess it was yesterday he presented there, and tonight he's presenting at Newburgh Community College. It took 2 presentations at each school for every student to experience that. And I'd also like to thank Caroline Mullins at NRBCS, who was the driving force to bring this program to our community.
Yeah, that was great. Laura, appreciate you sharing that, because I got to see one of the presentations at Christiansburg High School, and it's hard to get all those kids in one room and get them to be focused on what somebody's saying, and he had them captivated the entire time, and just a powerful message, his own personal story too. It's great. So we appreciate the efforts from New River Valley, New River Community Services for putting all that together.
Great, Laura, thanks. Any other announcements?
I would just like to say that Christiansburg High School is having their homecoming parade Wednesday, September 25th at 7 on Main Street.
Anything else?
So I'll just reiterate the appreciation for bringing that speaker in. And I know there could be some sense of risk of bringing somebody in to address something so serious. But I heard some positive comments about it as well. And so I appreciate your making that happen.
Okay, great, board. If there aren't any more announcements, upcoming school board meetings, you can see them listed in board docs. We have our joint meeting with the board of supervisors coming up at the end of the month, which will be at Christiansburg High School, which will be an opportunity for us to all see some of the updates that are happening there, give a chance for us and the board of supervisors to enjoy all the hard work that's going into that school. So looking forward to that. Next up, do I have a motion to enter into closed session as authorized by section 2.2-3711 of the Code of Virginia to discuss a personnel matter?
So moved.
So moved.
Oh my gosh. Tosh, I'll take your pick. It's fine. Dang it. Yeah, me too. Go ahead.
Ms. Bond? Ms. Franklin?
Yes.
Dr. Gitchery?
Yes and amen.
Ms. Parton?
Yes.
Ms. Purcell?
Yes.
Dr. Roundtree?
Yes.
Mr. Hudson?
Yes.
7 in favor.
Motion carries. We are in closed session. Ms. Parton, do you want us to call you in there?
Yes, if somebody could, that would be wonderful. Thank you.
Okay, great. Talk to you in a minute.
Okay, thanks.
Bye.